Good morning and welcome to our female entrepreneur interview series. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Whitney Hammond. Wallet to Wealth is a brand created to speak to women, to inspire them, to educate them, and to lead them to living empowered lives. Last year, we did 7 live events for the Halton Women's Place. We raised $15,000 in one night. And that was on the 7th event where we had 200 people attend dinner and listen to 8 inspiring female entrepreneur speakers. So this year we're going to do it again, November the 12th. And just a second here, just setting up my line. There we go. So this year we're going to do it again, November the 12th, but it will be an event on social media. So we'll bring those details to you later. But the main thing is to know that we are planning to raise $30,000 for Halton Women's Place. Yes. Were you able to forward that, by the way? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm really, really excited today to introduce our guest. And before I introduce her, I just want to give her a little rah-rah cheer, because I've known this woman for more than 10 years. And Priya is somebody who really does deliver the results that you want. So here's a woman who has a unique ability to move individuals rapidly, tongue twister, rapidly into a phase of healing, reprogramming, and repatterning, oh my God, I'm sorry, repatterning where measurable results are achieved quickly. She has created her own lifestyle movement. Welcome, Priya from Living 365.
Thank you. Good morning. Nice to see you.
I'm so happy to have you here today. I'm somebody that can really cheer from the rooftops, just because I've used your services many times over the last 10 years, not only myself, but my staff, my company, and you've also helped many other business owners that I know. So thank you so much for being here. And you were a main stage speaker for us last year at the Wallet to Wealth event.
Oh my gosh, last year was so exciting. It was such an amazing experience to be a part of.
Yeah. So let's just jump into the questions. So recently we've been talking a lot about generational or intergenerational trauma or societal trauma. And what we're finding is that a lot of us learned a lot of behaviors and lessons at a very young age, and we've unconsciously put that into our businesses and become awesome business leaders. So tell us a little bit about your experience.
I think for me, when we talk about generational, my parents immigrated to Canada via London, England in the 70s, just before I was born. And so at that time, it was a little bit different in terms of being an immigrant coming to the country. So I think the way that I was raised as well, in almost in a sense that you have to work that much harder. Those are some of the messages that I had. You're going to have to work harder to do the same job or get the same job because we're, from an immigrant family, that type of thing. But I also think, even though that might have been a generational message that kind of hindered me, in the same time, it helped me, because you want to get up each day and do your best, but we don't always. So, it really pushes you to be in that mindset that, okay, well, I have to work 150%. So even if you do have an off day, you're still coming in at 100 because you've gone that extra mile. So I think that's made a big difference in terms of, where that mindset came from. And also, I think, again, from generational messaging that came through. My parents and my grandparents are from the Depression, and even being in Guyana and South America, they left for political reasons as well. And so understanding, like, having to come through that lack and scarcity mentality, it really was quite something. And it's taken me, it's an ongoing process, to be honest with you. I still find myself, I have to have 2 bags of potato chips in the cupboard at all times, whether anyone's eating them, because we were only allowed that 1 bag every 2 weeks or something like that. It's just old stuff that sits with you, that's so deeply ingrained. And my poor parents, I always joke about them and say, like, They never taught us to save for rainy days. They were projecting tsunamis, like it was just going to be terrible. But it wasn't. So you're always living at the cusp of a level of stress that was irrational. You know, and so that really was quite freeing to get to that place, to sit there one day and go, you know, I don't really need to worry about this. It's not an issue. And be able to impart that freedom on my own kids as well, and learn to teach them differently. Also, I think too, because as immigrants, like all of my family really put a great importance on education. And not that I don't, but it was the only way. It was like, this is the only way you can do it. This is the only way you will be successful. And I think if that was one generational message that I have bunked, it's that there isn't only one way to joy and success.
Yes. Yeah. So I can so relate to what you're saying, because I'm an immigrant family too. And I had the same scarcity, because my dad was born in 1923. So
Right.
I mean, that's how I ended up in finance, because all those messages, you know, when I I love
Yeah.
your economic tsunami, because that's exactly how I was raised. But I'll tell you, there is a different feeling when because it's not, I mean, how would I know I'm an immigrant family? The only reason why I knew I was an immigrant family is because I was reminded on a daily basis that I
Yes.
was an immigrant family, and that I was going to be integrated with the kids that were from here, you know, and we weren't going to tell anybody. So there's some shame.
Yes. Well, I didn't have the ability to hide it. The
Yeah.
skin tone kind of gave it away. But it was also, you know, learning. It was a kind of a thing that said, don't stand out. Try not to stand out, which again was a hindrance, because when there was a time and a justification to stand out, whether it be academically, professionally, just as a female in general living in the world, then that there was always this, you know, knick-knack yin yang in my head going, don't do that. Like, you just be quiet, stay in the corner, don't call attention to yourself, just coast, 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 right? Play it safe. Keep, so safety, security, I think those were a lot of messages that I received as well. Basic survival. So you're you know, and again, learning that how we coming to that point, you realize this is irrational. I'm not in danger. I'm not, you know, I don't have to be afraid right now. And I think one of the biggest things that I was given is a message of joy is not important in life. Happiness is not important. The goal is the money.
The money and work.
Yeah, right. And so, you know, relaxation is laziness.
Hmm.
So those are things where, you know, it wasn't a home where we sat around and like did nothing. It was like, well, we've got time. Let's do this. You know, let's re-clean this thing that we cleaned 2 weeks ago, because we got a little time on our hands this morning. Like, what the heck? We're not going to sit around and be lazy. And it was just, so I think too, it kind of keeps you in a mindset of not being able to relax, not being able to be out of a stress mode.
Yes.
And that's something that I've really worked on throughout my life.
Yes. And then so how have you integrated that? Because you've aligned your life now, so that everything is aligned, and you've changed your vibe, and you're now, I mean, you're so good at this that this is what you do. So share with us how you've aligned your life so authentically.
Okay, so you know, we use this term personal development or self-development, and sometimes we use it very loosely. I take my personal development and self-development extremely seriously, and it's something that I work on daily. There is no get it done, there is no end to it, there is no I know it all moments. So I think in terms of alignment, it was really coming through those phases of awareness daily that allowed me to really be in touch with my true self, understand the giftedness that is me. Every one of us is gifted, you know. When I was a little girl, I think in grade 1 or 2, they identified me as gifted, and my parents didn't allow me. They wanted to put me in the next grade. That's what they did in those days. They upped to a grade, and my parents were like, she's too tiny, because I already started kindergarten early, and they're like, she's too small, we're afraid that the other kids are going to be too big for her, she won't fit in. So I was held back. So it was not an acknowledgement of our giftedness and how to maximize it. And again, it's like learning to accept who you are and be okay with what your strengths are and shine in those areas, and also to recognize where you have challenges and not put yourself down for them, but acknowledge them, embrace them, support yourself through them. And I think that's really what allowed me to get to this point of alignment, and also kind of a, chuck it in the F it bucket kind of an attitude that was just going to be like, I'm going to be me, and that's okay. And given the fact that I have this intuitive background, that was also another little thing, because I was constantly hiding the gift because of the stigmas, and from where I come, like from where my parents are from, it was considered a bad thing. It was considered like, kind of witchcraft, kind of an omen type thing. So it was like, shh, don't talk about it. Yes, we do have this, but don't talk about it. It's not good. So it gets to the point where, I had to learn to actually allow myself to be who I am and accept it, and kind of say, change circles, change my social circles, change even some of my family circles, in the sense that this is who I am and I'm not trying to hide it anymore, and or downplay me or be small.
Yeah, and then you've turned that into a fabulous business. So tell us about your business.
Yes. So I guess it all started with really, again, embracing my intuitive skills for my own self development. And one day someone asked me to do a reading for them. In fact, I was actually with a therapist, and the therapist asked me to do a reading for her. And I did. And so she started to word of mouth. That's how it started. People like, oh, you've got to see this woman, da 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 da, right? So it started from there, and that was great. And got further education around that. But what I came to realize is that mind, body, and spirit, it's not just a cliche phrase. It's not just a trend or a hashtag. It's a thing. And if you don't align your mind, your body, and your spirit, your changes will be temporary. They won't be sustainable. So while I was able to help people through guidance and healing on a spiritual level, they would fall back again. And it would really irritate me, because I would want to see sustainable and lasting change. And I would take it personally, almost, because I'm like, I didn't do my job. So it's like, okay, what's next? So then I started to understand the body in terms of health, gut health, nutrition, and things like that. I partnered with a functional medicine doctor for many years, and I would intuitively see things and then work alongside him. And then he would work with the client on the health basis. But I learned a lot through that time, and was able to learn some basics and be able to guide people along. So that was next, right? But so now we've got spirit and body. But I'll tell you what the clincher is: your mind. Oh my gosh. If you don't get a hold of this thing, it'll get a hold of you. It can take you down some rabbit holes that you'll be like, I can't get out. So that's really where it came along for me, is understanding that mind piece and linking it all together. So getting in touch with my subconscious mind and really knowing what programs I was running. So, those generational messages that we talked about, you got to know what those are. You got to know what's running down there, or else you don't know who's and what's controlling you. And you can be doing everything. And you could be with the best coach and investing in yourself and, sitting there meditating, doing it all. But if you don't know what's running the program, you're screwed.
So true. It's so true. And you have multiple techniques. Like it's just amazing what you can do to help and transform people. I mean, you've spent a lifetime with all this different study, and you incorporate it all together.
Definitely, because and that's been the blessing, is being able to get that knowledge that, what, we have to, our being is interconnected. It is, they're separate parts to us, but it's all one. And so really understanding and grasping a hold of that, and getting to know myself on the mind level and the body level and the spirit level, and understanding, okay, this is what I might need today. My mind might need something different than my body. Like,
Yeah.
even I was saying to my husband 2 nights ago, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and my mind says, hey, let's go do this right now. And my body was like, girl, you need to lay down, close your eyes, and do not move for another 5 hours, or we're going to shut you down in a couple of weeks with a headache or a migraine or something, right? So it's about really getting connected and having that self-awareness.
Yeah, which is tough. It's very hard to do that. So tell us like what's next in your business, because I know you've got a number of lines that you do, just so that people, I mean, I can share some of my experience, but just let you share.
Yeah, definitely. So Living 365 is my main company, and it's really more of a lifestyle and a movement. And it's about encouraging people to, wherever you're at, with whatever means you're at, living your best life each day and showing up as your best each day. But from there, we've birthed energy, because everything is energy. And so with the energy brand, we just last year launched a line of crystal infused water bottles. So you actually purchased a few of them last year. So they help you to elevate the water consciousness with your bottle, and that changes the molecular structure of the water. So this is basically intentional. You know, you have a joy bottle. It's like drinking joy water. You've got the love bottle, and so that's that line. But where we're going forward right now is one of the things I love is music. And because I'm so focused on subconscious messages, you know, a lot of the music today, we don't really pay attention to what we're listening to and singing. And when we're in that really heightened state, it's like, yeah, yeah, but what are we really singing? You know, there's a great song out there. I loved it. And I realized I was bopping to it. It was like, bring me some of that heartbreak back. And I was like, I don't want that. Yeah, right. But it's catchy, and you're going on, and you're in no resistance to it. So I've just almost completed. I have one more song to go. I'm just completing an EP called Raise Your Vibe. And it is basically dance music, but it does have a 417 hertz in it, which is a meditative hertz. So it's very healing at the same time. And it allows you to just kind of relax, but also have that joy. And I've been very careful when writing the lyrics that they're very supportive and affirmative.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just share that I listened to one of your songs, and I mean, it's amazing. Like it's all you, it's your vocabulary, and it's all true. And it's just that raise your vibe. Like so I can't wait to just listen to this all the time. And I think that's another, like, you come up with so many really good healing tools. And this is, you're right. Like, it's that subconscious message. Like, we're listening to music and we don't really always know what is being said in those songs. We just like the beat. The one thing that I wanted to share from my experience, and how I've used your services over, gosh, more than 10 years, is that I came to you in the beginning. Obviously it's business. A lot of times we come with business, and I am a large believer in coaching. So I've done a lot of coaching, and I've engaged in a lot of coaching, and I find that it's always a positive experience because we're always learning and growing. And I'm a high income earner, but you know, having that female lacking of confidence thing, you know. And so I know in the beginning that when I was coming to see you, you know, it was all about, you know, the deals, the money, the this, the that,
Yeah.
and you know, you were so cute because you're like, oh yeah, that's just all in the bag. And you're right, it was. But I had other things to work on that I had no idea. And that's what
Yeah.
was really cool, because then I started to work on things around myself that I just didn't know. But one of the things, and I've mentioned this before and I'll mention it again now, is that the one time you asked me to put something on a piece of paper. This had to do with a relationship. And, you know, what would you want? Put all these things down. And so when I brought them to you, and I said they're actually impossible, Priya, but I put them down. And you know, so we worked you know, for a number of years on and off of different things. But what happened was, when I pulled out that piece of paper a number of years later, every single thing on that piece of paper came to be true. And I brought it to you as, these are the impossibles. And I mean, I would bet my last dollar on it that these were the impossibles, and how everything, and it's not that it was just energy. It's just, and I like that it's in your song, you know, how it'll just come to you. And I think that we, you know, many of us don't believe it. And I've been in some pretty hardcore coaching where, you know, where I've been in boards where they're like, you know, you just can't, like, you can't just bring things to you. You got to work on it. And it's like, yeah, okay, we're working. But you know, it's still that manifestation. It's still that manifestation. Doesn't mean that you're going to sit on your couch and watch TV and it's going to land in your lap. But if you don't manifest it, it's not coming.
Yeah. And that really comes from that knowing, right? So manifestation comes from listening to your inner awareness, because your subconscious mind knows all the answers. It knows everything. It remembers every single meal you've eaten since you were born. It knows every thought you've thought. So it's all in there. So that's why I say it's so important to get connected to what's happening for you and what you're doing, where your awarenesses are, because you'll be guided. And we can, I am a coach and I do coach people, but really I'm helping them learn how to learn from themselves and teach them how to connect to themselves, because they have the answers. The blessing that I have as an intuitive is that I'm able to kind of read their book because they show it to me. So it's like I read the energies and I understand. And sometimes that's a little bit easier, but it's like trying to cut your own hair, right? It's just easier to go to the hairdresser and get it done. You might be able to get it, but it's difficult. So it's really just showing someone how to work with their own self in order to move themselves forward, and trust your instincts and trust your intuition and listen to you. You yourself know more than anybody out there who can help you. I don't care who they are. There's no one out there that knows how to get you where you need to go more than you.
Yeah,
It just is.
I love that. And you just opened up those doors.
Yeah, it's just helping out. So the other thing we are launching September 1st is the Energy Magazine online. So that
Okay.
is going to be focusing on mind, body, and spirit, different tips, different explanations. There's a lot of things in modalities, products, services that people are unfamiliar with, and how do you get to know them? So I wanted to present a more neutral, mainstream avenue that they can learn and have that confidence of seeing some samples. We'll have video interviews online because it's an online magazine, so that people can get comfortable with other things that can help them help themselves, and
Yeah.
access practitioners globally that can really help them move along their journey.
Yeah. That is awesome. And that is needed. That's really needed.
Yeah.
So fabulous. So people can advertise in there and then also read.
Yes. Yes,
Good,
definitely.
good to know. Good to know. I'm looking for somebody who does metabolic testing. So
Oh,
get
really?
somebody in there.
Okay, I got on it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're almost coming up to time. We still have a few minutes left. Is there anything else you want to share? How people can reach you? Who you're looking for? Who your ideal client is?
My ideal client is somebody who is willing to accept their own power and to do what it takes to connect to that. My ideal client likes to have fun. My ideal client is willing to hear the truth.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't have a filter. I don't sugarcoat it. It just comes out. So that's the type of client that I'm looking at working with and for. But there's so many things. It's basically whatever the challenges you're facing, come and see me. I mean, right down to the other day, I had a woman who couldn't eat eggs for years and years. And it turned out the day that her cousin died was the day this started. So through one of my modalities, we discovered that that was trapped in her subconscious. She hadn't been able to eat eggs for 20 years.
Oh
Now she's eating eggs left, right, and center, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So there's so many things that we can help you to overcome on all levels. It's just a matter of taking the steps.
yeah. And then also your services, your wedding services.
Ah, yes. So I definitely, the reason I kind of get into the things I do is just as I'm going through my own life, what I need. And so definitely working on the relationship side of things. I am a licensed wedding officiant in the province of Ontario. So I do premarital, I call it premarital boot camp. And then I get couples married. We have marriage strength building. And then I have the relationship rescue, which is a 3-day marriage rescue, where at the end of 3 days, you're either going to make it or you're going to have a very amicable divorce. I haven't lost a couple yet, but it really, that concentrated time. So we do that as well. And I have a resonating relationship analysis that I'm doing right now that shows you on the subconscious what's blocking you from having successful relationships. And then we work from there to keep you going.
We all need that.
I know
We all need
it's
that. We
so
all need
powerful.
that.
The questionnaire is 7 pages long, but it's subconscious questioning.
Yeah. Yeah. That I highly recommend anybody who's getting, into a marriage or
Oh,
they're
for
in a
sure.
marriage. It's those relationship working, it really can really enrich your lives together.
It totally can, because once you understand where you're coming from and how you communicate, and your partner does too, it allows for greater success.
Yeah, and that's what you're all about, bringing people to success. And I love it. I love it so much. Well, thank you, Priya, for being here today. I'm one of your raving fans, and I always will be. And I think you have many, many raving fans. I hear your name come up quite a bit in the Burlington area. So people have known you for longer than I have. So I just know I'm only this. But and thank you. You know, you've helped friends, and you've helped my own children. And I can tell you that I wouldn't, you know, be where I'm at today without you. So yeah, and I honestly mean that. So from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much, Priya.
Oh my goodness, it's my pleasure to be in your energy. First of all, you're such a bubble of delight. And also, I wanted to say $30,000 for Halton's Women's Place. We're gonna do it. It's
We
done.
are.
It's
We
done.
are. We are.
Right?
And
We
and
did
you
it
know
last
what?
year. It's gonna be
It
done.
was it was amazing that we did the 15,000 last year in the one night. But it's interesting because just quickly, my heart was broken about not being able to do the Oakville Conference Center because we were just going to have too many people. So, but then, you know, I shifted and realized that, oh my gosh, this is better. This is so much better. And the intimacy, being able to tell your story, see somebody's face up close, and reach out to, you know, really across Canada. And then also I'm going to start the donor button early, you know, run it, you know,
Yes.
maybe 2.5 months. And $30,000 isn't a lot of money, but, you know, when I thought about it, you know, because I got to double everything, right? Double down. You know, I thought, wow, that's going to be a lot. And then that was a limiting belief. Right. And that's
Right.
one of the things, that you taught me about many years ago. I know that's a buzzword right now, but we do have limiting beliefs. And so, yeah. So thank you so much.
It's done. Yes, I'm definitely contributing to that goal being reached. It's a cause that's dear to my heart, and I love the people over at that center. They do such great work. So yes, we will get it done.
We will. Okay. We'll see you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye, Priya.
Bye.
Bye.